Do you actually need something like the Shure SM7B in order to create content on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and other platforms like that? Retro Big Cat 75 got my wheels spinning, and I thought to myself, this is a perfect time to talk about this. Now, I've been reviewing microphones for a long time. In fact, my degree, my education is in music industry, and it's sponsored by NAMM, which is the National Association of Music Merchants. And so I've been around audio for a long time, and I've reviewed a lot of microphones on this particular channel. And if you're into content creation and you're trying to figure out whether or not you need something like the SM7B or the MV7 Plus or the MV6 or whatever, this is probably a good video for you. We're going to cover a lot of microphones in here. Now, we're not going to specifically talk about any particular brand. We're not going to cover all of these. I got like 10 microphones sitting right here. But I'm going to give you some sound samples between budget to high end for YouTube. And from there, I hope that you'll find out enough information in this video to decide what you need to do and some things to consider when making your decision. Now, all of these microphones are mine. This is not a sponsored video. I just wanted to make this video because he piqued my interest and I thought it would be a good time of year to talk about this because it's time to shop, right? So with that being said, let's jump into this video. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section below. But let's talk about microphones and whether or not you need an SM7B or if you can go with something like this from Fi-Fi. And this is in fact their most recent release on the SM7B side, the Shure SM7dB. And what made this different is that they released it with a built-in amplifier. So I mean, you used to have to use a cloud lifter, you used to have to use different things like that in order to get enough gain to power the SM7B. You don't have to do that with the SM7dB. I also have I have a lot of Shure microphones. Here's the MV7 Plus. You name it, I got it. So this is the Shure SM7dB. You let me know what you think this sounds like and how you like it. I think this is an amazing microphone. I use it a lot. I don't always use it because I have so many microphones to choose from, and it really depends on what I'm trying to do. So with that being said, let's switch to another microphone. So this is the Amplitank Tank 3 by Fine, and it's been a while since I reviewed this one, but I like this microphone as well. This is one of their more higher end microphones, and this is the first version. I think they have multiple versions since then. But what you will start to understand is that each microphone is going to caress your voice differently. We all have different voices, right? I'm a baritone, if you're thinking about that type of world. Some of us have, higher pitched voices. Some of us have those lower tone, deeper voices. And each microphone is going to sound differently based on the type of mic that you're using. And so what you'll realize is that there is no perfect microphone. There is no best microphone. There's different microphones for different types of voices, different types of users, and different types of energy. And as you're going to make your decision, those are some things that you want to keep in mind, is that different microphones are going to sound different for different people. My voice on this microphone is going to sound different than your voice on this microphone. And that's kind of where EQing comes in. A lot of people will use EQ to kind of bring up their lows and bring down their highs and different stuff like that. And you can compress the sound of your voice to make sure that it's not too high and it's not too low, and it kind of stays as close to possible for the loud stuff and the quiet stuff at the same time. But with that being said, let's switch to another microphone. Now this is the Toner TD510, and this is a pretty gain heavy microphone. One of the things that I've noticed in the past when I first reviewed this one, I reviewed this one a while ago, is that there is a lot of gain to this microphone. It gives you that broadcasty type sound. I think this is one of the first microphones that I tried that was budget that wanted to emulate that, that Shure SM7B sound, and because the Shure SM7B is kind of deep, it's kind of throaty. It's that broadcast type voice where there's a lot of bass in your voice. It's made for impact and it sounds very impactful. Now, another thing that you have to pay attention to when you're testing these microphones or deciding on the microphones is whether or not you're going to have it on a table stand or if you're going to have it on a boom arm or something like that mic'd in front of you, because when you have these on table stands, the more affordable microphones are usually going to have a little bit more handling noise than the more expensive, for lack of better terms, higher end microphones where the capsule is a little better insulated and things like that. So that's something to keep in mind. One of the biggest things that you're going to pay attention to is going to be like the build quality and whether or not if you can handle that microphone when using it, depending on what you're doing. If you're doing a stream or a podcast or something like that, and you have it on a boom arm, you don't have to worry about that as much as if you have it tabletop. Tabletop for me is easier to manage because I can pick it up and put it away. Whereas a boom arm, like I just don't like all that stuff attached to my desk all the time. Let's switch to another microphone. So this is the Shure MV7 Plus, and this is a combination microphone. Let me make sure I got this in the camera there. Ooh. This is a this is a combination microphone. What I mean by that is that it's USB and it's XLR, and so was the last microphone and the microphone before that, in fact. And that's another thing you need to pay attention to. USB microphones are the easiest to use. You can plug them directly into your cell phone, your iPad, your computer, your Mac, whatever it is that your tablet, whatever it is that you're using, and you can just go from there. XLR microphones are going to require you to have some type of audio interface to use, and that's an added amount of money. Now, there's different types of audio interfaces that you can get. That's a whole nother conversation that we could have. So just sticking to microphones, keep in mind how easy you want your setup to be. Is this something where you want to have multiple things connected in order for you to get going? Because the more things that you have to pay for and the more things that you have to have up and running, sometimes it just delays you from creating content. And that's why I actually stopped using these type of microphones and I switched to the microphone up top, which is a plugged in shotgun microphone that I can just literally sit down, hit record. It's connected to my camera and I can go. Now, with that being said, that does have its disadvantages. Sometimes I miss audio and sometimes my Tascam Portacapture X8 isn't working right and the audio is hot because for whatever reason I changed the direction that I was in and all those different things. These type of microphones generally give you the most consistent sound because you're usually 4 to 6 inches is the best way to use these microphones. They're end addressable and they block out noise on the sides, meaning if you lean off to the side and stuff like that, they usually don't pick up the audio as well. And if you're doing things on your keyboard behind, then typically it doesn't pick that stuff up as well. But that's going to vary depending on the microphone that you have as well. So I want to say that the biggest thing that you should focus on first is how are you going to use the microphone? Are you going to plug it into, how are you going to use the microphone? Are you going to be on a go? Are you going to be in an office or studio setup like this? Those are two big things. If you're going to be on the go, USB microphone all day because you don't have to have an interface with you. If you are going to do XLR, what version do you need? Do you need a high end versus a budget? What is your budget, and whether or not you can actually tell the difference between that sound is going to be a big deciding factor as well. So I've played a lot of different microphones to this point, 1, 2, 3, 4 to this point for you to kind of hear. And we're all in different budget range. So we went to the 400s, we went to 50, 70, we went to 100. Now we're back to about 120. Actually, I don't know what the price is on this. I'll put the link below so you see all these microphones below, and I'll have the chapter section. But this should give you a good idea of whether or not does it really matter. And there's one last thing that we should talk about when it comes to microphones and creating content for platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. So this is the Maono PD200W, and if you've noticed anything, this is a wireless shotgun microphone. So one of the last things I want to talk to you about is the technology that comes along with these microphones. As I said, there are combinations, XLR, USB. Well, this one is a third one. There's a wireless compatibility for this one as well. This one can be plugged in wirelessly to your setup using a little USB-C dongle. And in fact, they say this is the first wireless shotgun or wireless dynamic microphone. I'm not sure yet. I have to fact check that. I'm still testing this thing out. So you let me know if you think this sounds good. But one of the last things that you have to pay attention to is the software that come along with these microphones, whether or not they have software like the Maono Link that comes along with this one, or the software that comes along with the Shure, or even the Fine. Some of these microphones that are USB-C enabled or USB enabled have software that come along with them that allow you to set up EQs, and they have presets and different things like that. So that's something to keep in mind when deciding whether or not you want to buy this one over that one, over that one, over that one, over that one, etc. But lastly, YouTube compresses your video and your audio signal when creating your video and uploading it to YouTube. I'm sure I'm not sure. I know Instagram and TikTok does the same thing. And so keep that in mind as well. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to go out and buy a studio quality $500, $600, $700, $800 microphone for it to be compressed to sound very similar to a USB microphone. And so lastly, what I will say is do not be afraid to return something. Try it out for a week. If you don't like the way that it sounds and the way that it makes your voice sound, send it back. Don't just deal with what you end up getting because you don't want to go through the hassle. Get in the habit of testing fast, or failing fast, as we say in the product management world, whether or not you like something. And then if you don't, send it back. Try it in different variations. Try it with background noise. Try it by touching it and seeing if there's any mic noise. That's pretty good compared to the TD510. But do those things, and then if you don't like it, send it back. So if you have any questions, or if you enjoyed today's content, consider subscribing, joining the Cosey Coalition, and putting your comments below. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty good video that I've been wanting to do for a while. There's a lot of microphones here that you can go back and, I'll put chapters and stuff like that, so you can go back and listen to them individually. But yeah, if you have any questions, like I said, put them in the comment section below. As always, stay cozy in that crazy world, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.